Welcome back to another episode of Frank's Advice. And I just want to again say thank you to everybody that's been supporting me. I appreciate it. I love the feedback. So if you have feedback, just put them in the comments. Rate my podcast. Send me an email. Hit me up on Instagram. Let me know, hey, Frank, you could do this different, or I want to hear something like this, and I'll provide it. I appreciate all the feedback. So a lot of my episodes are some thoughts that I have throughout the week, or they just pop up random and I just talk about them. Because again, it's my advice. It's my unsolicited advice to you and what I want to get out. And last week I talked about chances. So I was talking to my mother this week, and through conversation with her, I sometimes get these thoughts, these epiphanies, if you want, that make me realize what's on my heart that I need to get out. And I told her, I said, I think I'm going to do this one on that, something that relates to chances, but it's also changing your mindset, taking advantage, seizing the moment, and it's okay to be different. So we was talking, and I was saying about how, sometimes what drove us to be successful, what drove us to do things when we were younger aren't the same things that drive us when we get older. And the same things that we would chase when we were younger doesn't mean there's going to be the same things we chase when we're older and we have responsibilities and life is happening to us, right? So what made me think about all this was in when I was recruiting the first time back in New York, I was told, oh, Frank, people say you changed. And I took that offensive, right? Like, I changed. What you mean I changed? I still live on the same block. I hang out the same dudes. I don't curve nobody when I see them. I don't throw shade. I'm not dissing nobody. I acknowledge everybody. I pull up on the corner. I hang out for a little bit. I still converse with the same people. I don't act like I'm better. I don't, put my nose up at the same dudes I grew up with. And I took it personal, right? I did. And then it's because growing up, in at least for me in the Bronx or in the South Bronx, they were like, yo, you changed, son. And you'd be like, what? I changed? Like, it's a bad thing, right? Like, you changed, or you funny moving, you funny acting. And so I guess when I was told that, that's how I felt. Like, oh, now I'm being funny, and I took it personal. But, now that I'm a little older and I'm trying to do different things, I start reminiscing and thinking back of those days and those conversations. And to think I did change. I might have not changed me. I was still humble. You know what I'm saying? I was still me. I was still the same dude that joined the Navy in 97, the same dude that was in high school with these cats, the same dudes that be in the corner with these cats. What did change was I was exposed to different things. So I said in one of my earlier episodes, New York was a melting pot, right? And I grew up around different cultures and different people, and I learned a lot of different things. So when I joined the Navy, it wasn't that much of a shock when I went overseas, but it was dope to see those same countries that I knew people from. Now I'm in their country learning their culture. So yes, I did change. I changed for the better. I didn't stay stagnant. My mind wasn't in a bubble that was just one block in one neighborhood. My mind was a little bit different. That didn't mean that I was funny moving. That didn't mean that I was funny acting. It just meant that I've been exposed to different things. So obviously, if there's growth in you and there's people, if we're going to grow, there's got to be change, right? I mean, you can't stay the same and grow. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not a doctor in that, But anybody that I know has growth in their life, spiritually, mentally, anything, they have changed. It's something that exposed them and opened their eyes to something bigger, and they internalized it. They ended up changing. So, so I was telling my mother, and I was telling her that, and like I said, I ended up accepting it that I did, and I mentioned it to one of my boys one time, one of my good friends, Larry. We met in high school in 9th grade together, and we still friends to this day. And I think I told him, I said, hey, somebody said one time that I changed, man. I took it personally. He said, man, it's all right. You left. You left. You left the hood. You moved. You joined the Navy, bro. You saw things different. And with that conversation, helped put things in perspective, right? So, which leads me to this whole situation now that I'm talking about is people, you want growth. You want to be different. You want to get certain things in life. You want to accomplish certain things in life. Then you might have to change your way of being, your mindset, your environment, the people you associate with, because not everybody wants the same thing you want. Not everybody is going to go hard for what they want. You know, many people say, I want to own a car, but never buy one. People say, I want to leave the hood, but never leave. You know, people say, oh, I love doing hair, I love doing this. And they never take the chance to do it because they never change their mindset. We stay stuck in a bubble. I said in the episode of Chances that the younger generation isn't scared to step out and do things, and the older generations is, right? And also I feel is lack of education, lack of knowledge. If we knew we knew what we were supposed to know to do it, we would do it, right? Like, and I'll give you an example. This podcast, this I've been talking about doing a podcast since 2016, 17. I bought the equipment, been bragging about, I'm going to do it. And I never did it. Never did it. And the reason was because, one, I put things before it. I didn't make it a priority. I allowed my primary job, which at the time was recruiting, to dictate everything I did, to the point where I didn't even start I didn't continue my master's until I got back to Virginia. I just put many different things in place of what I wanted to do. And plus, I didn't have the education. I felt that there was so much I needed to know before I jumped into doing this. So I didn't. And once I sat through that one webinar, I realized, wait a minute. I'm not that far behind the power curve. I can do this. This is something I can do. So it required me to change a little bit. It required me to shift focus. It required me to align myself with what I wanted and put what I wanted first. Not what I've been so conformed to doing. So, like I said, I was on the phone with my mom and we were talking, and, you know, we were talking about all this stuff is coming up, different feelings, emotions, you know, with her, I tend to be a little bit more open and more, if you want to call it, vulnerable. She's my mother, you know, and we've had many conversations where I was able to open up to her and not feel judged, not feel weak or anything by it. But then again, that's my mother. You're supposed to, you know. But, you know, we talked about it, and I just felt, and I told her, I said, I need to change my environment. I need to change the people that I'm around. And for all my friends, please don't take this the wrong way. That's not what I'm saying. That I don't want to be friends no more, that I don't want that, you know, no, that's not it. It's just that like I said previously, if you're trying to be rich, you're not going to hang out with a bum or broke people. You know what I'm saying? You're going to associate yourself with people that are trying to be in the same level as you. And what I'm saying is, it's okay to have different views on things and associate yourself with those people, but still maintain friendships with people that you have other relationships with. You know, not everybody is going to want to do the things I want to do. So should I stop talking to those people because they don't want to do it? Or should I just make more friends that want to do it and still maintain the friendships with the people I have? And that's really what it comes down to. And that's what got me thinking about all this, right? Because sometimes we get into a mindset like, oh man, I can't associate with you. I don't want to cut my friends off. You know, when people say that, oh, you got to find new friends, it's like, man, you telling me I got to change all my friends because you want me to do this business or you want me to get involved in this? And it's not necessarily leave your friends. It's understand that they're not on the same type of time that you're in. If they're not on the same page as you. We can all have goals and ambitions. It does not mean that we're always going to be on the same page to attain those goals and ambitions. We're going to have different views on things, and that's fine. That's fine. It's okay. You can look at your friend. I can look at my friend and say, hey, yo, listen, I'm going to go ahead and do this Zoom call, and I'm going to do this training, and I'm going to study for this test, and I'm going to holler at you later. Might that take me away from them for a little bit? Yeah, but that's me pursuing what I want, vice staying stuck in a bubble and not doing what I want. So to me, it's all about your change, your growth, your perspective, how you see things, and do you see it the same way as you used to see it? And we're not going to see things the same way we used to see them all the time, because guess what? That's the point of growing. That's the point of changing your mindset. That's the point of the change in you, is that you're supposed to grow. You're supposed to see things differently. You're supposed to try different things. You are supposed to branch out, create new networks, meet new people, venture out, grow. You know, and I it took me a while to understand that. You know, it did. It really did, because and what kind of sparked all this too was I've been trying different avenues to create more revenue, right? And you meet people and they're like, oh man, you can do this, you can do that. You just got to have your mind into it, and you start looking around, and then, you know, you kind of poll it in a sense. You bring it up in conversations to different people, and they're like, oh, no, I don't know, Frank, I'm good. And a lot of them say I'm good. So I was telling my mother, I said, some people are content in being where they're at, you know, but they still want bigger things. They're just not going to move out of where they're at to get those bigger things. So you can expect to have a bigger thing. And I'll give you an example. You know, we all talk, especially when you're in the military and you dedicate so many hours, so many days. You know, you've been doing it for a long time. I know me and my coworkers that all have 20 plus years in. It's like, man, I can't wait. I just want to retire, never work a day in my life. But what did we do to be able to retire and never work a day in our life afterwards? What did we just put money in a 401k? Did we just save money in our account? Did we just live off an E3 budget? And we're, you know, some of us are chiefs, E7, some of us are officers. And we just, you know, what did we do to ensure that when I say, hey, I'm walking away from the Navy, I'm going to take my pension, I'm going to take my medical disability, and I'm never working again, to make sure that didn't happen, make sure that happened? What did we do to ensure that that's what we did? Some people live in this world where it's like, yo, I want this, I want X, but I'm not going to do what it's going to take to get to X. I just want it. You know, growing up and seeing people never leaving the environment. And some of it, you know, that's a whole nother podcast, a whole nother conversation. That's just, but I'm saying that sometimes we don't do what we have to do to get out of our situation. We stay stuck in it. And anybody else that tries to get out of that situation, then you say they changed, and you say, hey, they're different. Or no, they're not the same. They fake. They're not, you know, they're not this, they're not that. No, they are. It's just that they're doing what it has to do to make the money to get out of that situation, or to have what they want in the long run. Me, I would love to retire when I do, breed dogs, find something I could do working from home, because I don't want to go work somewhere else. I would like a boat, and that's what I want to do with my time. That's what I would love to do. I mean, that's just my plan. And did I do what I have to do to get to do that when I retire? No, I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't make the right choices. I didn't do the right things. I didn't take advantage. I didn't change in time to ensure that I can have that when I retired. And that's what I'm trying to convey, is that in order for us to have the things we want, it's going to require either a sacrifice, changing, educating yourself, taking the chances, doing things that might require you to put extra work into something for you to have that extra income to be able to get where you need to be at. I'm currently doing a class for my master's, studying for a state exam, and working, trying to figure out how to manage it. Never done stuff like this before. I like to do things in a paced, controlled environment, in a sense where if I'm going to do a study for a state exam, then I'm not going to take a class for my master's, because I don't want to be split. I don't want to be worrying about having to grow my business with the Forex trading. I don't want to have to worry about recording an episode. You know, there's certain things. So I'm spreading myself so thin right now. And it's weird for me because I've never done this. I like to be in control of what I'm doing. But I'm doing this now because I'm realizing that I need to make these changes in order to be where I need to be at in the next 3 to 4 years. I had to step out of my bubble and look at the people that are doing it and say, man, they're not crazy. They should be happy and motivated that they're making this extra money and they're doing what they have to do to preserve their future. Instead of me sitting back saying, man, they sound like a cult or a clan, Oh, well, they're crazy. I should have been more motivated in what I was doing. And that's the whole point of this episode, is that I want people to understand that it is okay to be different than what you were, a day ago. That it's okay to have growth and maturity in you to do what you have to do. It's okay to separate yourself from the people that you know in order to get what you have to get, but never forget who you are and where you come from. Always maintain that humility and be humble. Never forget where you come from. I don't forget where I come from. I know who I am. But that does not mean that I have to stop my trying to achieve my goals because of that. No. I will always rep where I come from. I will always tell people, hey, I'm from the South Bronx. I grew up on Brook Ave and 138. I went to St. Luke's School. I went here. I went to John F. Kennedy High School. This is who I am. That's what made me who I am. But that was just the basis of it. Now, I need to grow from that. I need to build on that. I need to use that, what I saw growing up and what I learned through my walks and hanging out outside and seeing my parents struggle, seeing my aunt, go through what she went through, seeing my uncle go to jail for 12 years for selling drugs, seeing my other uncle struggle with addiction, seeing family members not finish certain education and seeing their growth in that aspect and where they're at today. This is life. This is what it is. And I need to use that as a basis to be better as I grow. So it's okay for the growth. I just don't forget where I come from. And I tell people, I'm still that little hood booger from the South Bronx. And if you get me at the right time, you're going to hear me talking crazy and maybe out of character and something that you're not used to. That's because, my mom taught me right. When I go to work, I act like I'm at work. That's what it is. When I'm at home, my friends and family, that's something totally different. When I go back to the Bronx and I'm visiting my sister and I'm taking my kids to get their braces fixed, guess what? I'm a different person. I move different. My environment is different. My level of awareness is different because I'm back in an environment where I need to be that. But it's okay to be different. It's okay to make new friends and make new connections and network out and create a base or a circle of people that are in the same situation as you, that want the same thing as you, and y'all gonna attain it together. I'm not a big fan of LeBron James on the court, but I'm a big fan of what LeBron James did for his friends. And how he brought his friends up, and all his friends are eating right now. They're all rich. They're making money. They're employed. They have what they have because they stuck together. And that's beautiful when you can all grow together. But that's not always realistic either. So, that's it. That's what I was thinking about. That's what I had in my mind. I wanted to get out there that it's okay to change because it's growth. It's okay to take advantage of situations. It's okay to take a chance on yourself. And, it's okay not to, you don't have to forget where you come from. It's okay. But understand that you can't stay in that same bubble and get where you want to get. We have to look in the mirror and say, well, Frank, did you put the money away that you need to put away? Did you invest right? Did you do this? Did you do that? So when you retire at whatever age from the Navy, that you can sit at home and just collect a pension and do the things that you want to do. Now I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to say no. How many other people can say yes? And how many people say no? How many people can say, truthfully look in the mirror and own the fact that they didn't do what they had to do? So, and it's never too late to change. It just might take you a little longer than if you would have started sooner, and educate yourself on what avenues you have to get where you need to be at. That's really where it goes down to. So, that's my 2 cents on it. That's my unsolicited advice. That's Frank's advice on it. And I hope that this episode makes sense to you. I know I was kind of all over the place, but the message is simple. Is in order, when you take these chances, you got to take advantage. You got to change. You got to grow. You got to educate. It's okay to make new friends and create a new network and put yourself in situations to be successful. There's nothing wrong with that. And anybody that tells you, oh man, you know, that's whack, you forgot where you came from because you're doing that, then they're not part of that. They don't need to be part of that. Walk away. Walk away, because that's the person that's happy and content in their circle, in their situation, and that's not you anymore. So, you know, thank you for listening to this week's episode. Also, I'm planning real quick to do something different. I'm looking into how to do phone interviews. I want to interview some people that have big things coming out, you know, and big things going on. Also, maybe do some more advertising for people and their adventures, like people that drop albums, drop books, stuff like that. So, you know, stay tuned. I'm going to start trying to add that in. But again, thank you for listening to Unsolicited Advice with Frank. And this week's episode is Changing.